things. When you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
Bothering me is that being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, you know, bullshit sometimes, and, you know, that's the only thing that I hate about it.
Bryshere Gray is finally spilling the tea on why his friendship with Terrence Howard ended as soon as Empire stopped airing. The thing is, Terrence knew what Diddy wanted to do to Bryshere because they approached him first. But he made it clear that he doesn't go down like that. Instead of giving Bryshere a heads up about what was going to happen to him, Terrence stayed quiet and watched as they completely damaged that young boy. The worst part is Terrence is always talking about how he's not afraid to stand up to the Hollywood machine. But when it came to protecting someone he called his younger brother, he tucked and ran.
I'm watching him, you know, he's with my man Charlie Mack, so Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo, so Charlie has been with me, you know, 30 years coming up in the business. So, you know, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love, and all he has to do is add discipline, and he's gonna be all
girl. It's hard to see just how much everyone failed Bryce Gray. From his money-grubbing mother to the morally bankrupt role models, and even the people he believed were his friends. Now, when it comes to Diddy's predatory ways and what he does to men, both young and old, there's really nothing new to that story. But the last thing anyone expected was for Terrence Howard to have a story about him, too. This man has made it super clear that he doesn't swing the other way. And with all the pressure he faced as a young man trying to make it in Hollywood, Terrence still made sure that he kept his manhood intact. However, last year, Terrence shocked everyone out of their seats when he told the story of how Diddy tried to get in his pants and turn music him out. He said he got a call from Diddy that he wanted some coaching for a new acting gig he wanted to get. At first, Terrence genuinely thought that it was all about coaching Diddy. But when he realized that it was all about getting his cheeks prepped and ready at all times, he turned down the offer completely. He cut off all communication with Diddy immediately and made sure to keep it very short and quick whenever the two of them interacted at industry events.
Me, for weeks asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication.
Now, Terrence might be out of the game, but he is a pretty handsome man, especially during his prime in Hollywood. So other producers would call him and try to get him to bend it in exchange for some movie roles, but he refused every time because it was better to leave intact than be broken down in exchange for fame and money. But this wasn't the last of it, because somehow the conversation shifted to Bryshere Gray, who played Terrence's son on Empire, and Terrence threw shade on him, saying that he's a good example of what happens to men when Diddy gets to take away their manhood.
What he had to do in order to get to where he was at. There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head.
But Bryce has been trying to speak out about what happened to him, and he's not about to let Terrence tear into him like that. At a very young and impressionable age, Bryce ended up with Diddy, and there were a lot of people who made that happen. His then manager, Charlie Mack, reportedly collaborated with his mom, Andrea, to sell him off to Diddy and Will Smith. What made Bryce the perfect choice was that he was 17 when he was discovered, and on top of that, his family were willing to get behind what was about to happen to him, as long as they got enough money and fame in the process. This effectively destroyed Bryce's main support system. And even if he tried to fight, it would be easy to make him out as problematic and crazy. But for Bryce, it wasn't just his mom and manager that failed him, because Terrence is pretty up there too. When they first met, Terrence made a pretty big deal about putting himself out there as someone the young Bryshere can rely on. Terrence took him under his wings, gave him tips to improve his acting, and became a protective figure in his life. Terrence would also try to talk to him about some of the darker pressures of the entertainment industry, especially when you have some talent, potential, and drive to succeed.
This is the thing with Terrence. He doesn't know how to get out of character when we work. So sometimes I go crazy because I'm talking to Lucius, you know? So I may be like getting into the scene even more than I'm hearing Terrence talk to me as Lucius, and I'm like,
After Bryce was introduced to Diddy and Will Smith, Terrence didn't just hear about it. He saw it and felt it too. Will Smith's former friend Brother Ball spoke about how Bryce would come on set high as a kite and was extremely difficult to work with. He would lash out at anyone he could because he felt they were all complicit in what happened to him.
I'm in Chicago. This guy's acting erratic. Like, I mean, crazy. He's getting stopped by the cops. There's male prostitutes involved. There's mental illness involved. There's drug use involved. And I'm really trying to see what happened to this guy. And one day he said, you know what happened. You know that Will R-worded me, or however y'all kind of say it on YouTube. You know that Diddy sexually assaulted me. And you know Charlie Mack made me suck his private part. Right? And I'm like, whoa. This was a full admittance.
Terrence didn't notice how defeated and emasculated Bryshere felt after getting turned out. Music, but instead of trying to be in his corner like he was in the past, Terrence started to put some distance between them. They would reportedly talk only on set, and if Bryce tried to reach out to him or ask for some guidance, Terrence was nowhere to be found. As much as he knew just how broken Bryce was, Terrence also knew that if he publicly sided with him, he would have been effectively blacklisted from the industry. At the end of the day, Diddy was one of the main gatekeepers backed by Clive Davis when it came to the black entertainment scene. And if he noticed Terrence trying to stand against him like that after refusing his advances, he wouldn't take the disrespect lying down. So Terrence chose to keep his mouth shut and save himself, and watched quietly as Bryce became a shadow of himself. After Empire ended, Bryce got into a lot of trouble. He continued to lash out and got arrested for domestic violence and assault in 2020. He also got sentenced to 10 days in county jail with 3 years probation in 2021 after he pledged guilty to aggravated assault. Music, and of course, he has become a major OEF creator. And visiting his Twitter page was a jump scare. But recently, it looks like he's been trying to turn things around. His Twitter page is now private, even though his OEF link is still up. And on his IG, he's made several posts showing that he's back to making music and performing at nightclubs in Kenya. Word is that Bryce is slowly moving on from that time of his life and is still maintaining zero contact with Terrence Howard and anyone who failed him while he was on Empire. And as expected, people have something to say. The fact that when it comes to Justin Bieber, everybody is praying for him, saying stay strong. But no one is saying the same about Bryce. Bryce was such a beautiful young man. I pray for his heart and soul. But what do you guys think about this? Sound off in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.